Sorry, everybody. I'm late. I'm a drug user. I'm a black man, so I have a lot of excuses. I'm always late. That's my problem. So, okay, and I'm French also. I forget that. It's worse. Because I will try to explain you what happens in my country with this question of race, which is something particularly difficult because French people have some kind of incapacity to speak about this, and in the same time they are obsessed now, in those days, with those questions. So I'm obliged to read because I'm not fluent in English, so forgive me, it will be not so funny, but I'm obliged to read to explain this very precisely. So, the race and drugs and the French double blindness. Blindness is from Alexander Talk. I think you all know this great novel about, not novel, study about the new Jim Crow. It's a view about the incapacity of the French society to deal with racial issue in the drug field. National identity, I told you, it is a present French obsession since the 2000s. We have a so-called identité nationale, which is the main target, national identity. It's a media reminding obsession in France. And I think the main cause is the connection with the voting high grades of extreme right Front National. You have the increase now. We are about 30%, I think, and the next election will be very tight, you know, and it's a kind of fascist party. So former President Nicolas Sarkozy, newly elected, created Ministère de l'Immigration and National Identity, which is Ministry of Immigration and National Identity. Strange connection. Indeed. And in 2011, a governmental campaign called Débat sur l'identité nationale, Identity National Debate, based on the ideology very close to what happened during the 30s, you know? So it's about Islam, immigration, and all that subject. So, what connection with the drug fields? We have also a good polemist named Eric Zemmour, who said this statement: if there are many people of color in prison, it is because everybody knows that all drug users are blacks and Arabs. So this puts us on this double French blindness, the taboo on racial issues, and the drug use criminalization. So let's talk about it. Double blindness. Color blindness, you know, is the underline of the famous Michel Alexander book, The New Jim Crow. And this blindness is a word particularly suitable to the French space. So this double blindness, drug use criminalization, and racial and taboo and racial issues, both are connected to the law, and that's the most important thing, you know. We have two laws which puts this double blindness in our society. First one, drug criminalization. So drug prohibition forbids to see the reality of drug use. It is a moralistic approach based on the only importance of offer. And the importance of offer is unbalanced regarding the demand. And this offer is always represented in the drug dealer figure. So prohibition wants us to see drug dealers as evil. And in fact, drug dealers is an implicit black and Arab figure in our society. I suppose in a lot of society as well. Huh? Close to Alexander model, there is an implicit French figure on the what we call le dealer de cité, obviously from American origin, a vision built and increased in media according to what the guy Zemmour was saying. The figure is raised to hide a big secret. Most of the drug is consumed by white middle class people who needs somebody to sell it. So we need statistics for that. But we don't have statistics on real drug consumption because of what I said. The absence of statistics can't prove what I said. The only one we have is on Parisian consumption, and it shows that the richest part gets a higher level of consumption than the poorest part. So drugs are globally consumed and sold by white middle class, but the open scene of the suburbs are more visible and vulnerable to police inquiries. So let's talk about the second one, the racial issues, the second blindness. It is close to a historical main reason, the French Revolution and this universal republican myth. France has been living in an age of color blindness because of anti-racist reasons. This is the most interesting things. During the revolution, French Republicans were the first people to abolish African trade and slavery because they believe in this universal cause of French Revolution. So we get this. We get here the Général Dumas, father of the most famous French writer, Alexandre Dumas. He was a cavalry general, top of the chain of command. And we have also Toussaint Louverture. I suppose many of you know this famous guy. He was also a French general during the revolution. So this is the way of seeing universal guy, universal French guy. So this universalism came in constitution. This French universal citizen is supposed to exist in reality. So we have the Universal Declaration of Human and Citizen Rights, la Déclaration universelle des droits de l'homme, without distinction of any race, religion, or believing. And this word is back to the actual legal declaration, which stands here in France in 1946, just after the victory among Nazis. We have the same kind of law, and it is increased in the law. This is deep in the law. And because of that, we have unexpected consequences. The color blindness principle was therefore started. France wanted to strengthen its determination to prohibit any kind of reference to race in all juridical, social, and medical documents. And I know that when you explain that to Anglo-Saxon people, they are always shocked. Because for you, it's a way to measure the racial issue. And it's because of anti-racists argue that we are not able to have any racial data. This is important to understand. So the negative consequence is that it's impossible to assess whether and to what extent black or people experience social inequities. But we have also obscured forces, colonial exemption, and post-colonial racism. We don't need to be so proud because Napoleon has restored slavery after 9 years of abolition. And in the end of the 19th century, the French Republic had conquested half of Africa and part of Asia, giving a second-hand citizenshipness to the people of color. After decolonization and the Algerian War, there is a big antagonism with Arab people, and more generally, an uncomfortability with post-colonialism debates. Another thing to notice is during the 80s, the terrific heroin pandemic. Black and Arabs young people were particularly touched by this disaster, AIDS, OD, criminalization. And the only French state help has been a terrible war on drugs with thousands of incarceration. This period is probably the origin of the building of the figure I noticed before of black and Arab drug dealer. In the late 90s, the population of those areas has cleaned the place with violence method. Heroin is now forbidden word in the suburban culture. Today, cannabis have replaced heroin in the main products, but mafia system, gang activities, and criminalization are now settled for a long time among those population. So I will conclude with that. This double blindness is what we can call a double pharmacon. Pharmacon is a Greek word. It means both medicine and poison, but it means also scapegoat. In the 80s, scapegoat was drug use. And now, in those days, scapegoat is Islam. The war against drug use in the French suburban black and Arab places highly helped Muslim predication because of the disaster. It has raised because of AIDS, prison, and OD. And now, religion is the other pharmacon, a medicine, a poison, and a scapegoat. Thank you very much.